Hello and welcome to the Dewey Decibel System, the official podcast of the Buchanan District Library in Buchanan, Michigan. I'm Meg Paulette Perez. I'm the director of the library and one of your hosts, along with the dynamic duo, Karen Gonzalez and Grant Wagner. Hey, Karen. Hey, Grant.
Hi.
Woo. So here we are in 2024. How's your year going so far? Anyone make any New Year's resolutions?
No, because I'm horrible at them.
Mine is
Like you make them and don't keep them?
Yep.
Or?
Mine is just try to keep up.
That's a good one. I like that one. We can all do that. All right, so today we're going to have a fabulous guest joining us, and we have some very fun picks. I decided that the theme of the show today is basically there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. So in case you're joining us for the first time, this is how our show works. Karen, Grant, and myself all work here at the library, and on each episode we get together, we talk about books, movies, TV shows, music, video games, or pretty much anything we want to, but we have to have checked out the thing that we're talking about with our Buchanan Library card. Lucky for us, you can get almost anything with your library card because your library card doesn't just let you check out stuff that's here at our library. You can also get things at libraries from all over the state through Interlibrary Loan, or Melcat, as it's famously known. You can check out digital books, music, movies, and more on Libby and Hoopla. And you can use your card at other libraries nearby that Buchanan cardholders have reciprocal borrowing privileges at. Each month, we have a different special guest come on and join our conversation, and this month's special guest is our friend Trinity Young, who runs the awesome library over at Buchanan Middle School. But before we get to all that, we're going to have another library staff member join us to talk about something, or maybe I should say someone, that is pretty much universally adored at our library. So stick around, and we'll be right back with that. All right, we're back, and we've got Erin Ross with us. Hey, Erin.
Hi.
All right, first tell us about you and what you do at the library.
I am the assistant director here at the library. I've been the assistant director going on 2 years now. Before that, I was the administrative assistant, and then before that, the circulation assistant. So I've changed quite a bit since I started here. But I do a lot of finance and HR and fun stuff like that.
We like Erin because she gives us our paychecks.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so now for the real star of the show. Who have you brought with you today to the podcast?
I have our resident leopard gecko, Coraline, here with us. I would have her say hi, but she doesn't talk.
Yes, Erin really does have Coraline with her in her hands right now. But yeah, leopard geckos are not very noisy creatures, are they?
No, they can make squeaking noises when they're upset, if they're in danger, stuff like that. But I don't know if I've ever heard her make any noises here because she loves it here. So.
How long have we had Coraline now?
We got her right before we shut down in 2020.
That's right. Yeah, right before
And then she came
COVID.
home and lived with me for 3 months and then came back to the library.
Yeah, so probably most people who've actually been in our library have gotten to see her. But yeah, Coraline is a leopard gecko who is kind of our library mascot, pet, whatever. And she lives over near the parking lot entrance, and people are always very happy to come in and say hello to her, especially kids on their way into the library.
Yep, she's adorable.
She is adorable. For a lizard, she is, I really haven't ever heard anybody. You'd think that there'd be people like, there's a, reptile in that. But I don't usually hear that.
Yeah.
Do you have any other fun facts about Coraline that you can entertain us with?
I don't know about entertaining. She was a rescued gecko. She came from a home where they weren't taking care of her very well. And then we got her through a friend of mine who actually rescued her. And now she's doing fantastic. She's got everything she ever needed. She eats a variety of things that Grant does not like.
Oh my goodness.
I don't really like them
A variety of different
either.
kinds of bugs. In the wild, that's what she would eat. Pretty much anything that crawled past her, she would snap it up. Here she eats superworms and crickets. Lots of different things we catch for her in the warmer months.
Yeah, she ate a praying mantis.
Yes. She loved it.
Oh my goodness.
It was so big, I could not believe that she got it in her mouth.
Yep. As long as it'll fit in her mouth, usually she can swallow it, so.
Grant's just making these crazy faces. It's like, did you never have like a pet snake or anything growing up, or?
I had goldfish and cats.
Okay.
So nothing that is fed maggots.
We used to catch like salamanders when I was a kid, and we'd like
Yeah.
keep them for pets for like a day, and then we'd let
Which
them
is
go.
illegal.
Oh no, really?
You're just committed to a crime.
Just admit it. What's the statute of limitations on catching geckos?
We'll look it up.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, I'm sure it's passed.
Do salamanders even grow here?
Yeah, there's
Really?
lots of native salamander. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, you
Fun
gotta-
fact.
Look,
Didn't know that.
look under a log when it's warmer
No.
out, and you'll see them.
Yeah.
I won't do that.
Yes, Erin used to work at the Potawatomi Zoo, so she's our go-to person to ask questions about animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want to see animal art, come into my office.
Yes, which everyone, including myself, thinks is her children's art until they
Yeah.
realize, until she tells them it was painted by, I don't know, a buffalo or a
Well,
whatever.
today Emma automatically knew as soon as she saw it, and I said, "Congratulations, you're the first
That's
one
the first
that
time.
knew this was animal art."
All right, well, thank you very much for bringing Coraline to say hello to us. So I hope
You're
everyone
welcome.
will come in and say hello to Coraline soon.
Yeah, if when you come in, she's usually sleeping, but you can usually see her little head poking out.
All right, well, thanks, and we'll have you back sometime.
Yep, you're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome back. And before we get into discussing our picks for this month's podcast, we have to meet our special guest, Trinity Young. Hey, Trinity.
Hello.
All right, I know you're a local celebrity and everything, but before we get started, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little about, what you're all about.
Okay, my name is Trinity Young, aka the Book Queen. At the middle school, I have been at the middle school for 10 years. I am the media assistant / librarian, and I am also the advisor for Junior Herd, Yearbook, and WBMS News.
WBMS was my daughter's favorite thing.
Yes.
Like, she didn't stop talking about WBMS for 3 years.
She's one of my favorite people.
Yeah, which was great. So tell us a little bit about what that is if people never heard about it.
So every morning, our students do the news. It's WBMS. We have our own newsroom. It's so amazing. We used to be in like an actual closet. And then when we had the building reconstructed, we have our own news station. And the students come in, they do everything from the daily happenings at school, lunch, birthdays, weather, and sports.
Yeah, and it looks really good. Like, you have a green screen, right? And
Oh,
like,
it's amazing.
Yeah, like the production value of it is pretty
Yes,
high.
it is
wanna
amazing.
see this.
Yes, like we play music in the morning. Dear Lord, help us all with some of the songs. But it's so much fun. I would not start my day any other way than with that group of students. So
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
a lot of fun.
Josie's looking, my daughter, who did this program, is now a sophomore and starting to think about early middle college and stuff. But anyway, she's thinking about journalism as like a career, and
Yes.
I would definitely think that that's because of WBMS. So
It's
very
one of our
cool.
very own, Miss Buchanan, Hannah Herman. Oh, and Miss Michigan, Maya Shitnick.
Oh, really?
Both WBMS girls.
Cool.
So is
You've
it
got
like
the magic touch.
An actual room?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Come to the middle school sometime.
Well, I don't think I can just show up at a school.
You have my permission. Come on down.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So, like I said earlier, we're going to be, as I was reading or watching or playing all of our picks this time around, I feel like a theme sort of emerged to me, but I'll be curious to know what you guys think when we get into our discussion more. We're actually going to start with my pick today, and I have to admit, I feel a little embarrassed about this pick now
Don't
that we're
be.
here.
Don't be.
Good. Thank you for backing me up on that. Let me introduce it with just a short clip.
Join Sean Astin, Brendan Fraser, and MTV's Totally Pauly Shore as they discover what happens when the Stone Age meets the Rock Age.
The movie's about these 2 loser kids from Encino, and we find a caveman in his backyard. We take the caveman to school, and it makes us cool.
This guy's our ticket to fame and popularity. All we gotta do is get him enrolled in school, and he'll help us become popular.
Wow, who's the guy with the dork squad? Is he fun or what?
He's a looker.
If you don't know by now, this pick of mine is the 1992 movie Encino Man, starring Sean Astin, Brendan Fraser, and Pauly Shore. On our first episode, I actually joked about this movie a little bit because we were talking about the hometown video store, and we could remember like going into the store and like right where the favorite movie was and picking up the little plastic card and like going to check it out every week. And this was one that I can remember doing that over and over again. There have been times that I've claimed this is my favorite movie. That might be a bit of a stretch, but I do really love this dumb movie. And I guess that's kind of what I was trying to say about a theme for the show. Not that dumbness is like the theme of our show, but I think there's all of us might have things that we love that maybe other people don't always understand, but that's okay. We love them anyway. In the clip, you heard a little bit about it, but basically the plot is there's these two guys, Stoney and Dave, played by Pauly Shore and Sean Astin, and they're digging a pool in Dave's backyard, like by hand with shovels. And they find a guy frozen in a huge block of ice. So, of course, naturally, they thaw him out, convince Dave's parents that he's a foreign exchange student, and enroll him in their high school with the intention of this somehow helping them to become more popular. Which is kind of, that always struck me as sort of a crazy idea that they would think that would be what would happen. But it does kind of work. Actually, Brendan Fraser's character, Link, the caveman, actually becomes so popular that he kind of attracts the attention of the girl that Dave likes, and then she wants to go to the prom with him. So at this point, Dave is kind of like, you're more trouble than you're worth, and he tries to sort of send him on his way. But then Stoney, Pauly Shore's character, comes back and says, like, no, man, you can't do that. You can't use people. We all got to be friends. And then they are. And then they're all friends again, and they all go to prom, and they kind of take down the bully who's there, who's trying to, like, expose Link as a caveman. So it's a happy ending. All right, so that's basically the whole movie. You don't have to watch it now. But it was released in May 22nd, 1992. It did get pretty negative reviews, but it was a box office hit and became like a goofball comedy classic. It was the directorial debut of Les Mayfield, who went on to do Miracle on 34th Street, the 1994 version of it, Flubber with Robin Williams, Blue Streak with Martin Lawrence, and then he did a couple more things in the early 2000s, but this was his first movie. So, okay, that's enough from me for right now. I've confessed my embarrassing love for this movie. What do you guys think?
Do not be embarrassed by this. I love this movie.
Yay!
I was a Pauly Shore person back in the day, from MTV, everything. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was going to kind of mention that. I didn't realize that they pulled Pauly Shore into this movie because of his MTV fame. So there's this really crazy clip, you have to look it up, of a screen test where it was going to be Ben Stiller as the caveman. Yeah, Trinity just gave me this look. Like,
really?
Yeah. And then it was also going to be the kid from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. What's his name? I wrote it down somewhere. Keith Coogan. Do you remember that guy? No. You remember the guy who takes and he's like, the dishes are done, man.
Yes,
like he's shooting the dishes.
Okay, yes.
That guy was going to be in it. And yeah, Ben Stiller was going to be the caveman, and it would have been a very different movie. Yeah. But it just kind of wasn't working. So they brought in Pauly Shore because they're like, well, people love Pauly Shore, so they're going to make it work. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, it led to him doing, 3 or 4 other really, I'm not going to say really good movies, but enjoyable movies. No,
I'm with you now. We're gonna double down on our love for Pauly Shore.
There you go.
Yeah, because then he did
Son-in-Law.
Son-in-Law. I really like. In the Army Now is my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, okay. I think so. That one. We're gonna have to go down a whole Pauly Shore rabbit hole now. Sorry, guys. Jury Duty wasn't that good.
No.
But yeah.
Biodome
was. That one's probably the dumbest of them all.
But you kept watching.
But we kept watching it. Anyway, so for those, obviously Trinity and I have a long-standing love for this movie. For those of you guys who hadn't seen it before, what do you think?
Look on your face.
Just Erin. Silence.
She's just like,
I don't know. It was funny, but the thing that's crazy is it came out 2 years before I was born.
Wow, youngin'.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, oh. I thought I'm pretty sure, like, I've seen this before. Like, I rewatched it, and I was just like, oh. Like, because I know, what is that guy's name? Brendan Fraser?
Brendan Fraser,
yeah. He's always, I don't know. But, yeah, it was pretty funny. Because I like stupid comedies, you know? Like, it's just, I don't know.
There was a good run of stupid comedies for a while
Yeah.
in the 90s. It was the
Yes.
it was the decade of stupid comedies,
Very true.
we watched them all, like, you know, the Tommy Boy and the, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of other just like really dumb comedy. It was the era of Jim Carrey just being just really Jim Carrey. You know?
They all had some really cruel bully.
Yep. What about you, Grant? Any thoughts on Encino Man?
The movie's plot is very 1990s. The defeating the bullies, the prom, the caveman. Just it's.
Are there other caveman movies I've forgotten about?
I don't think so. I just think like it's the thought process into writing those movies at the time was just like random because. Like, a lot of movies back then were very strange.
I think, if I had just, like, there was a time before now when movies could just be movies. Like, they could actually, so my daughter and I watched this together, and we all wrote down things. And some of the things that Josie wrote.
This should be good.
Do you want to hear them all?
Yes.
Well, okay, so she wrote, not every movie has to mean something. It can just be dumb. Have any of these people who make these movies ever been to a high school? So glad I didn't go to high school in the 90s. Please shave Link's hair for the love of God. And Stony equals my idol, so inspirational. I am fluent in Stony-ish. She was proud of herself. So Pauly Shore has this very, if you don't know Pauly Shore, he has this very Pauly Shore way of talking.
Dying for you to do this, Meg.
Oh, no, am I supposed to do
Yes.
it? Like, oh no, I'm trying to think of one. We just want to wheeze the juice.
What?
Buddy. And then he's got to do the weasel.
What?
Really good.
Yeah, thank you. I'm pretty good at the weasel, I guess. But anyway, that was so embarrassing.
Oh my goodness.
But he also just says things in this really, like, he says things like grindage or like to talk about like food or whatever. And Josie was like, I understand everything he's saying. I don't know how, but I know what he's saying. She was very proud of that. So anyway, it's very much a Pauly Shore movie, I guess that to say, which I didn't even remember. I hadn't watched it in quite a while. And I was like, oh, it's just a Pauly Shore movie.
That's true. I like how you said naturally they unthawed him. Like, we do that all the time. Oh, there's a man in mice. Let's unthaw that.
Well, that's kind of, I mean, all of these movies, they're just so goofy. Like, you have to be down for the goofy premise and just be like, okay, fine. That's just what's happening. So we've talked a lot about Pauly Shore, but I do think we have to give, sorry, Sean Astin's not going to get a lot of love. He's fine. But Brendan Fraser, I don't think this movie would work without him because he's just got that kind of wide-eyed innocence. He's just, right away, you just like him. You don't know anything about him other than just like, I like this guy. He seems like a good person. I don't know how would you describe it, Trinity?
Because he just settled into that part oddly. Like, dude had like no lines really. He just grunted, told people to shush.
No, that's the bully.
Oh, that was the bully. But Link said it at the end.
Oh, that's right. He does. He says it too.
And he screamed a lot.
Yeah.
But he was so cute while he did it.
He was so cute.
He really was.
Karen's laughing at us now.
I like that they did his hair to look very much like Pauly Shore's.
Yes.
I'm like, did they get the mud out? Or
And that was early 90s, so I guess was that still
I guess that was
the
thing.
style? I don't know. I was a little too young for that, but
I'm not going to say that.
well, plus it's Southern California, so they kind of had.
True.
It wasn't, we're a lot more practical here in the Midwest.
That is true.
So, yeah, but yeah, I think Brendan. Okay, so weirdly, I watched Encino Man on Friday, and then on Sunday I watched The Whale, which is the one with Brendan Fraser. That just came out a couple of years ago, and he won an Oscar for it. And I won't say because The Whale is a whole other thing that we could talk about. It's a really interesting movie. But I think it both are examples of just it wouldn't work without Brendan Fraser because he's so lovable. Like, I think that's really his strength. So, yeah, that was weird. You know how, like, when people would say they'd go see, like, Barbie and Oppenheimer, like, right next to each other? I feel like that's what it was watching Encino Man and then The Whale, like, in the same weekend. So
Wasn't Brendan Fraser a Tarzan?
He was George of the Jungle.
Oh, there you go.
That's what it was.
I was
That's what
like,
it was.
I don't know why. Yeah, it clicked to me.
Yeah, which is kind of like a kid's Disney movie, sort of.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's adorable too. Like, I mean, I
She's
know.
like, I don't care whatever
No,
he's in.
I'll
I
just
love
watch it. I don't
Right.
care.
You're like,
Oh yeah, because
I'm
he
down.
was the mummy. He
Yeah,
was
the mummy.
He was in the mummy.
That one I've actually never seen because I'm a big wimp.
What?
Yeah, no. When I was, I
Scary.
didn't watch scary movies for the longest time. Now I'll watch them a little bit, but then I'll still have nightmares for like years.
It's not really scary.
No,
It's not that bad?
It's like an
No.
action movie more than anything.
Like when I watched Us not that long ago.
Oh, you went too far.
I was like, I'm never sleeping again. So thank
Yeah,
you.
that's too
Yeah.
Did you watch? Let's see, Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I love
You
all
can
the
watch The Mummy.
Okay, so it's more like that. It's like
Yes,
action
yes.
and just like somebody's going to get crushed
can-
by something. And
you can
snakes.
definitely do this.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to put that on my list then. Okay.
and we do have that here at the library.
Great.
You guys have everything here at the library.
There's
try.
so much.
We
like
really
I
try.
went into the library of things, and I'm like, I don't know how to play video games, but I'll rent one.
Yep, you sure can. Well, actually, that's a great segue then. I think we're going to, thank you. It's like we planned that. So, yeah, thank you guys for indulging me with Encino Man.
Thank you for having Encino Man.
I did enjoy getting to watch it again and think about it a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to go on to Karen's pick now. And would you like me to play your clip first?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what we're going to be talking about.
Hey, stop staring. Haven't you guys ever seen a dragon before? Here comes Spyro. Nicely done. I just want to kick some.
Sorry, little reaction.
I did not expect that.
You didn't say it. It was very tasteful. All right, Karen, tell us all about this.
All right, so this time I picked Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So this is a new game that just came into the collection because I was helping purchase the games here since I'm the gamer. And this is one of the games that I chose because it came out in, I believe, 1998. And so it's, I thought nostalgic, parents would love to play it too. It's pretty easy for like the kids to kind of play, So that's why I chose this one. And actually, I'm the first one to check it out because I had to revisit my past, I guess, because I did play this also. So the trilogy, it is a remastered collection of the 3 Spyro games in the series. Spyro the Dragon is the first one, which did come in 1998. Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage, which came out in 1999. And Spyro Year of the Dragon, and that came out in 2000. The game is about a little purple dragon named Spyro attempting to restore peace in a set of worlds specific to each game by defeating enemies. So in the game also, Spyro has a sidekick named Sprax, which is like a little yellow dragonfly that acts as Spyro's health meter. So he like always flies around Spyro. He's always with him. When Sprax was a larva, he used to crawl around Spyro's egg. When there was peace in the dragon realm, Spyro rescued him from a bird, and that's how they became best friends.
Buddy time.
Didn't know there was like a whole backstory. Well, I
always are
wasn't
with these
expecting
games.
Well, yeah, there's always like backstories to everything. Well,
It's
they-
just-
most-
Except like we were talking about this morning, like, was there a backstory to Mario? Why did he jump on all those mushrooms? Like,
Well, isn't it? No, that's Donkey Kong where he's trying to rescue
the
Princess
barrels.
Peach.
no, that's
No, that's
Or,
Mario.
is it?
Yes.
Wow.
I thought he.
Donkey Kong was originally a bad guy, but
Well,
I
yeah,
thought
but
he
like,
stole Peach.
yeah,
didn't
he stole
Yes.
Peach.
and then that's why he was throwing
Yeah.
the barrels.
Yeah.
Because Peach was
Why
at like
Mario
the
was trying
top.
to get it.
Yep.
See, yeah.
But who is Mario? Where is
We're talking
Mario?
about Spyro today, Grant.
But that also doesn't make any sense.
Well, anyways, back to Mr. Spyro. So the dragonflies in this realm are protection for the young dragons, such as Spyro, because he is a little dragon. Without sparks, Spyro would be able to be defeated in one hit. So he's kind of like his extra health, you know. Let me see. Oh. Hold on. Yeah, so depending on the color of Sparks, it lets you know Spyro's health. So, for example, if Sparks is golden yellow, Spyro has full health. Then it goes from blue to green, and after that, Sparks will disappear. So if you get hit with, by an enemy and you don't have the little dragonfly, then that means you've been defeated. So don't lose the little dragonfly because he's, your buddy there. To gain the health back, Spyro has to either charge at a flame or a small creature, which are like, some of them are like lambs.
Oh, that's what the lambs are about.
Yeah, because she was freaked out. She was like, I
don't play video games usually, but Karen helped me out and let me. I did beat the first level. I'm really proud of that. I'm sure like a 4-year-old could have done it, but I'm really proud. But yeah, no, there's these little lambs, and Spyro's a dragon, so he shoots.
It makes sense.
He shoots fire out of his. And so you can shoot fire at things. And I didn't know what I was supposed to do, so I shot it at like the lamb. But all his wool burns off instantly. Oh. And then he's like a little naked lamb. And he's just looking at you like, why did you do that to me?
And so she was like, am I supposed to do that? I'm like, yeah, that's how you gain your health back.
Okay, so that was okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, because, so
I thought I was just harassing lambs.
No harassing of lambs. No, because when you actually did that, a little butterfly came out of it, and Spyro eats it, and that's how he regains his health.
I didn't catch that.
See?
Wow.
This game
She's just burning. She's just like, oh, well.
Indiscriminately.
But yeah, so to regain it, you have to either charge at him, just like come full speed, or flame the creature. And then he, like I said, he eats it. Spyro eats the butterfly. That's how he gets his health back. But a crazy thing is, Spark actually lacks antennas, even though he's a dragonfly, and limbs, due to the software limitations of the PlayStation 1, because it did come out solely for PlayStation 1, and then another company bought it, this other company, and they kind of came with it. So now it's available for PlayStation, Xbox, and the Switch.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Switch because we just bought a Nintendo Switch for the Library of Things.
Ooh, yes.
So
this one's for the Switch. Yep. But yeah, it is available for other ones. We just only have the Switch version. But yeah, so since back in the day, the graphics weren't as great, so they couldn't really give it antennas or limbs because it was going to be too much because it's kind of blocky.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that. So it's like an exact remake of the earlier games? Is
yes.
that? Oh, okay.
So it's because I thought it was a new game at first, and then I looked it into it, and I was like, oh, it's the remastered versions. Okay. So like I said, it's a trilogy, so it's 3 games in one cartridge, and it's the first 3 of Spyro. Okay. So you get 3 basically different games, but this, like I said, was based on games that came out in 1998, 1999, 2000. They just remastered it, made it the graphics better. So the Dragonfly, they kept basically the same, what he didn't have, but just made him look nicer, HD.
Yeah. No, it looks really. I wouldn't have guessed. Gosh, were they they were doing 3D games at that point in 1990? I didn't remember that.
Yes.
Because it is like a 3D world kind of game where you run around and do different stuff.
Yeah, but so it's just the remastered version. That's why I really did choose it, because that was one of the first PlayStation 1 games I played. And so I was like, there might be parents, because we are at the age where our kids get Switches now.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, maybe I'll get a game that maybe they'll remember and they might want to check out and play with their kids, you know? So, because it's really fairly easy. I mean, there's a couple levels I was a little stuck on, but it's fun, it's friendly, it's really like, you know, because a lot of games that come out now, they're kind of too
graphic.
Yeah, like very violent.
This one's very cute. It's a little purple dragon.
Yeah, it's cartoonish. You know, it's like So that's why I kind of chose it. You know, for the library, because anyone can enjoy it, even adults. Because then adults will be like, oh, I remember playing this, but now it's just in better graphics. You know.
What'd you think, Grant? I know you played a little today.
I did not know there was that backstory. I was just kind of like, it's not even flying, but like gliding around, shooting things. And I was like, Karen, what is the point of this game? And she was like, you're still in the lobby. I was like, oh, there's more? Like, it's just like, it's confusing, but at the same time, like, I kept wanting to play it more.
I think a lot of games in the 90s, they didn't really give out that much instruction, to be honest.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of the game is you have to wander around in the world and figure out what's happening.
Yeah. It's like a Zelda type thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a Zelda fan, so that's why.
Yeah, and then I just pressed a couple button things, and then a waterfall opened, and it was like...
I didn't get to that part.
Yeah.
Did you roast a lamb like someone else we know?
I roasted a lot of lambs. We had some gyros for dinner that night.
Oh, no. Poor lambs.
So the hardest part for me with these, like, new games, which I know now they've been doing it forever like this, but, like, the camera button, you know, like the camera that controls how you see your character, it's like that's one joystick, and then there's another joystick to move, and it's like to be really good at these games you have to be able to do them simultaneously. And I cannot at all. I see my daughter do this, I see other people do it, like it's all flowing very nicely, and I have to like stop, move the little thing around, like look where I'm going. Half the time I'm looking like, you know, I can't see what I'm doing at all, and that's so frustrating.
Yeah, because like back in the day, like so when this originally came out, you can kind of like play with one hand, but you would have to still use your other one to like to shoot the fire or something. But yeah, I get what you mean. Like the camera isn't.
It doesn't just follow you.
It doesn't follow you anymore.
I think it does when you dash. I noticed that when you go faster.
Yeah, because it's just going straight.
Yeah.
You're dashing fast.
Yeah. But yeah, I was actually having fun. This always happens to me with Karen's picks, like with your anime picks or with the video games. There's things that I usually have no, you know, point of reference for at all. But then I'm like, oh, I might actually like this. Yeah.
I'm a gamer now.
Now I'm a gamer. No, I'm sure as soon as I got to like something hard I couldn't do, I'd be like 5 minutes. Well, that was enough of that.
Grant, he actually rage quit.
Yeah, I rage quit. I was like, it was like 10:30, and I was like, I'm leaving now. I'm going to go to school. Because it was like
you were getting paid to play a video game. Why are you complaining?
Right. It's just like, it was a flying level, and apparently I'm not a good flyer, which I don't know why a game should judge me on that. But it was so stupid, and I let it get the best of me. But I will say, I killed that stupid dragonfly. I don't care if it's his best friend. I know.
A dragonfly that gives you life?
Yeah. He's a good dragonfly.
So that means he kept getting hurt.
It just made me mad, so I just found a way to finish it off.
I have a lot more respect for gamers the more that I know, because it's hard, and you have to like stick with it and do it over and over and over again.
It's so stupid, that game.
Calm down.
Like,
Sorry, Grant.
You're crushing someone's dreams right now.
Yeah, it's not for you.
Love this game. It's a purple dragon.
No, it's like a cool game until they're judging you and saying you don't know how to fly.
So he's just mad.
Yeah, like you shouldn't be able to judge me, you purple dragon.
No, honestly, I was struggling with that stage too. And I was just like, because like the one that he's talking about, like you basically had to fly and hit these like specific barrels, but you had like
you showed me that
yeah,
one too.
it had a time limit, and I was like, oh no, I'm not good at flying either. I suck, and I rage quit at home too. I was like, no.
Glad we have that in common.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go cook dinner now. Like, I don't even want to do this.
It was very stressful. Like my heart rate went up. It was like, oh my goodness.
And like since it's a dragon, it like he says, it doesn't fly, it glides. So you're just like, if you're just one little measurement off, boom, you're in the water and die. And
and he can't swim. Why can't he swim?
Because he
can fly, he can run.
If you noticed, his tail has a flame. So if it goes out,
so if he okay, that makes more sense.
Then what is the dragonfly there for?
That's his health meter.
Okay, but it's killing him.
No, it's not. It's telling him, hey, bro,
why
this is how
isn't
much
he
life
there?
you have.
Yeah, why isn't he there to help him when the flame goes out?
Well, he's a dragonfly too, so he can't swim, obviously.
Well, yeah, I think
it all makes sense to me now. Now I'm okay with it.
Well, I think like later in the game, you can like get in a bubble, and that's how he does like the water.
Oh, okay.
The water.
So it's like a gerbil ball thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Like the hamster balls.
Yeah, even the dragonfly's in a little bubble.
So he's Sandy the dragon.
No, Spyro. Wait, Sandy.
Sandy, the squirrel.
Oh, in SpongeBob. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, wait,
He has his own little
yeah. Okay, I get you. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so yeah, in water stages, he has a little bubble and he just goes down, and so does the little dragonfly.
So did you conquer this? Is it conquer this game?
It could be. Sure.
I played a little
bit. Did you
bit.
get through all of the stages?
No. I literally picked it because I was like, okay, I remember playing it, but I don't even know if I finished it when I was young. I was like, I don't know. But then the first stage, me and Grant were also like struggling to get on this ledge.
Yeah.
Because you had to get like the point of the first Spyro game is that you have to like unlock dragons because the big enemy here like.
He froze them all as like crystal dragons, and you have to go like help them so that they're not crystals anymore.
Yeah, you know, because then I mean that's his community, you know, like he's trying to free them. And so there was one on this ledge, and I was like, he was struggling.
Ledge.
Yeah, he was struggling, and I was like, okay, I was struggling with that too. So he's just like, then I don't feel bad because you couldn't get it. And I was like, what?
It was just like you couldn't jump on anything there. It was like. They greased the poles or something.
Like
they can't make it too easy for you. That's what the fun is. It's
but it's a kids game. Even I couldn't.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Like I might need to rage quit this session of the podcast. Calm down.
It's a fun game, but stupid.
Okay.
Yeah. Wings of Fire, kids.
Yeah. Go ahead. Check it out. Show it.
Oh yeah. That would be a good little pick for them.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Karen, for telling us all about Spyro. All right. Next, we're going to get to Grant's pick. He's very excited. So why don't you tell us about what you had us reading this time?
So the book I had them read is A Summer of Silk Marks by...
Silk Moths.
Silk Moths by...
Sorry.
Margaret Willey. So this book actually takes place in Buchanan, which I thought that was really cool because, like, the first part of it takes place at the old B&W, which is on Main Street. It's an actual place. So, like, I was able to visualize this. Mm-hmm. And I read this book first for a school book club.
Okay. I was going to ask how you heard of it because I hadn't heard of it before.
Yeah, they forced me to read it. But I ended up really liking it. And then there's this map on the front. I don't know if it's in this book, the current copy we have at the library, but it's of Fernwood, which is like, I think it's like Riverside.
Yeah, in the book they call it Riverside, but you told me that it was based on Fernwood?
Yeah, so it's really cool. So they have, I need to see if it's in here. I don't think it's in here, but they have a map.
Yeah.
Of Riverside, and if you pull it up on Google Earth, it's really cool. It's like the same exact thing. This was in 2006.
Yeah, is that the date that the book was published? 2006?
I don't know, but like the whole story takes place in 2006, so it's like based off of the map of 2006. So there are a couple more buildings now.
2009, thank you.
But it's really cool to like see and visualize like they were here. And it's just a really good book. It's about a 17-year-old person, and he is living there. Yeah, here's the map. Yeah, it's like really cool. So I can read the summary.
Sure.
So 17-year-old Pete Shelton's life revolves around helping his friend Abe McMichael build Riverside, a nature preserve dedicated to the memory of Abe's brother Paul. Then one summer, a troubled runaway shows up named Nora, who claims to be Paul's daughter. All her life, Nora has lived with secrets and lies, never knowing anything about her father. Although enemies at first, Pete and Nora slowly begin to piece together their shadowy pasts and discover that their lives intertwine in a way they never imagined. So this is a book, at first it's not, but then it turns into a romance where at the end they're like going out on the water and just like hanging out.
I have to say that it's like one of those where the two characters hate each other at the beginning, and you just go, okay, I know where this is going.
Exactly. I'm like, they're going to date.
They're going to, yeah. Yep.
Can we talk about how Karen read this in a single day?
Good job, Karen.
I really did. I just read the whole thing yesterday. Started here a little bit, and then I went home. Read it, was cooking, reading it. I went to bed at 10, and that's when I finished. I was like, I'm mentally exhausted. I was like, I am done. And my kids were in bed. I was done.
You were silk mothed out.
Yes, really. I was like,
so tell us about the title, like where that comes from, because it's called A Summer of Silk Moths, which I don't think I know what a silk moth really is.
So from what I remember, it was like, I may be wrong, but there was like a lot of moths, and then in a part of the book, someone gives someone a moth collection.
Yeah, so the character Paul that you mentioned, who's the one who's died, and his brother is trying to make Riverside in his memory, but he had this moth collection, and he was really interested in moths and nature in general, but he got really fascinated by them, and so he's got this huge collection of them. And it's kind of, there's like these journal entries throughout the book that are Paul's journal entries from when he was young.
But you don't find out about that until the end.
What do you mean?
That the journal was like his. Like, where you got it.
I think they actually find, like, the characters themselves find the journal at some point, right?
At the very end.
At the very end,
yeah.
Right. But we, as the reader, get to, like, read it throughout.
Yeah, because I was kind of confused. I'm like, where is this journal coming from? Like, that kind of threw me off a little bit. And then at the end, I was like, oh, okay,
that
got
journal.
It.
It's a nice, calming read. There's, like, not too much action in it, where it's, like, you can put it down for a couple days and like just I did that a lot with my book club.
Yeah, it's definitely a people-driven, relationship-driven story.
And it's not about cavemen or dragons.
No, it's a teen romance. That's really what it was.
It's realistic fiction.
Yeah. It did win some kind of award, a young adult.
It says Green Earth Book Award.
Yeah.
Awarded annually by the Nature Generation.
Oh, okay.
The Nature Generation.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
So, I think I looked up the author. I mean, she's a Michigan. She doesn't live locally, but she lives in Michigan, and she writes books mainly set in Michigan. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I want to know, like, what led her to Buchanan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, of all places. Like, we're a cool community, but, like, why here?
Yeah, I wonder if she had a personal connection.
Yeah.
I will say that was the part that I guess is kind of fun about reading a book that is written about a place that you actually know. I'm trying to think if I have many other examples of that. I mean, maybe big cities, and things like that. But you could really exactly picture what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, let's drive to Niles.
They talked about Niles.
Yeah.
I think St. Joe was mentioned.
Mm-hmm. So that was kind of interesting to be able to do that.
Cool fact is they mentioned going to the Buchanan Library.
Oh, yeah, they do early on. Mentioned going
to get a phone book, and we do have those.
I'm sure at the time, well,
we do.
Was it, which character was it? Was it
Nora, because she was trying to find Abe's number, and so she went to our library.
Yeah, so theoretically it would have actually been this library, not because most people are thinking about like the library that used to be, or where the library used to be, which is now the Art Center. I think most people think about that.
But that was like 2001-ish.
Yeah, we moved into this building in 2001. Mm-hmm.
Because I think because she had run away, and then she went she didn't even know this uncle. Like, she just ran away and just said, this is the only person I have and I'm going. And she went to the Buchanan Library, grabbed the phone book, and that's how she got Abe's information, her uncle. So I was like, oh, cool, we're matching.
It should be a movie.
It should be a movie.
That would
Who would you cast in the roles of
Me?
Pete? And
No.
Okay, I'd cast myself.
Okay, Mr. Buchanan, calm down.
Maybe.
Oh gosh, I asked
This should
for
be
this.
good. Who's
No, I
gonna
know
be
exactly
Nora?
who it's going to be.
Who, a little person by the name of Taylor
Yes,
Swift?
that's who I was
Maybe.
I didn't even think that.
Trying to, maybe like, I don't know, a younger actress.
Isn't she red-haired? Isn't Nora supposed to be red?
Yeah.
She is red-haired.
Yeah.
Blue
There you go,
eyes.
Emma Stone.
Yeah, Emma
I do like
Stone.
Zombieland. Great movie.
Yeah, but it would be like, I feel like it would be an interesting movie.
It could be. Yeah, I think honestly with stories like this, I think it helps to be brought to life by like actual people and actors because it is so a lot of people just sitting around and talking, and so it depends on the scope of your imagination how. Maybe I'm saying I'm not very imaginative because I usually struggle more with books that are kind of like in this genre where it's just quiet and people are talking. I want a little more action usually, but
Yeah, you
Honestly, like reading this book, it made me really want to go over there to, what is it you said, Fernwood?
Fernwood.
Because like I'm like, this sounds fun, and I've never been like over there, so I was just like, oh,
You can visit it with the LOT passes.
yeah, you can check out a pass and go over there. So,
Really?
Yeah.
yeah.
More things for
we
you?
have
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a 2,
4,
4, and
and
6
So if
person
you want
pass.
to
So you
go
can-
with a group of people and go look for where the movie or book took place.
it's already a movie.
There you
according to
go.
Grant, yeah.
In my mind, it's a movie.
Yeah,
it's a
and I-
mental movie.
And I think a lot of us who grew up around here, like we really remember going there a lot when we were kids.
I think it
school
was like a
groups
field trip that we used to take when we were in elementary school.
Yep.
We would go to Fernwood.
Lucky.
Now I don't go because I know they have snakes.
and they do have snakes.
I was there a lot in the springtime. I had a project called Diversity of Life. Meg might know about
I remember
this.
the Diversity of Life project.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys had to. How did that work exactly? There was
Like
a lot.
180 species.
Yeah. What?
So I went to Fernwood, and they had a lot of them there.
Yeah, and didn't you actually have to get evidence of?
Yeah, someone brought in a dead mole.
Oh, yikes.
what?
Yeah, there were bats. I just brought in the plants or like an acorn or something. Like and then the teacher let them sit in the summertime heat. So
Oh,
it
no.
just
Bad idea.
yeah.
Yeah. But Josie told me she wasn't supposed to bring anything that she killed.
No, he wanted you to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, when they were talking about the moth collection, I was thinking, I don't know if you had to do this in school, but we used to have to do a bug collection. Like there was a leaf collection one year, and then the next year it was a bug collection. And I'm just like, thank God they don't do that.
Yeah, do you remember doing, like, where you had
Yes.
to put them in the freezer is how I remember
Yes.
doing it? Yeah. Well, because you want to murder them
Humanely.
without damaging
Right.
Yeah.
them. Well, I don't even think it's about being humane. I think it's so
Oh.
that you don't
Because you didn't want to
crush
have to
them.
like squash
Yeah.
it, and then that's going to be gross on your little corkboard. Because you would have to like make a
Pin
little
on, right?
flag and put a pin on it,
Oh my
so you could
goodness.
tell which one it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't have to do that.
I remember us bargaining bugs.
Oh, like with your buddies?
I have an ant. Anybody have a cockroach? Anybody have this? So yeah, I was like, oh, and they're getting serious about these silkworms and.
Yeah, that was a big part of the story, but I did like those parts, like the parts that were kind of a little more scientific, telling you about, like, what do they say? How do you catch these moths, like, late at night? Like, they put a big sheet up,
Yeah.
and then, like, put a light source on the sheet so that, like, or behind it or something, kind of like, I imagine, like, a big movie screen in the dark.
And then the moths will just like come.
Yeah.
And then the sugar water on the tree.
Oh, so
and
that
then
they
he
stick
would,
to
yeah.
the tree.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, that's
It's a whole
pretty
process.
right. I'm like, I did not know this.
Yeah.
Sounds too much for me.
Oh, see, that was the part I was like, that's cool. I want to try that. I mean, I don't really want to kill moths, but I don't know.
Right.
It sounds kind of neat.
Yeah.
A good excuse to be out on a summer's night and like.
But I would say after I was done reading this, I was like, okay, let me go look at like pictures of moths, because when I think of a moth, I think of a nasty, ugly brown, wannabe butterfly. So I was like, all right, let me check this out. And like, yeah, I see what he was talking about. Like, different ones have different colors and the eyes, and I'm like, oh.
The Luna moths are the ones that always, I think, those big green ones with the kind of like, I don't even know what I'm making a motion that no one can see. They've got kind of the swoopy tails that are.
And then, I think, what did it say? Something in the book about, well, obviously Luna is moon in Spanish. So it's, Boop. I don't know. I think the circles on their thing were the biggest ones, wasn't it? I think.
Well, they even talked about some that are like in India or in other places where they like look like an owl or something. Like they're huge.
Yeah, like 12 inches.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Could you imagine if you like woke up to that on your car?
Smack like
Just.
Yeah, that might be too much.
Man, I would keep my lights off forever. I'm like, this isn't the moon. This isn't the getaway. No. But no, it was pretty interesting. Like the journals, you get to see Paul's mind, and he was really nerdy. I kind of like that, And then you got some moth facts. I mean, like I said, I really looked at moths as a little disgusting bug, like,
Yeah.
But then you read this and you're just like, oh, there's more to it. And then like, I guess it said that people always reference moths with death, and I should have saved it because they like. He like turned the words around, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. Like, like they're always following the moon and like, trying to go to the light. And I think that's why a lot of people get them like tattooed on them, because it's like, don't go for the darkness, go for the light kind of thing.
That.
Yeah.
Hey, Karen.
Karen's getting sentimental.
So that's how I'm like, oh, okay. But because I really never understood why people got moths tattooed on them. Like, that's why. And then I like read this and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Like cool. It opened my eyes, and I'm like, okay, cool. But yeah, like the little bug collection thing was kind of cool. It was kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of creepy because it explained how to pin them, and I was like, oh, poor little buggy. Like he said that they couldn't feel anything, but I'm like, how would you know? You're not in that position, Like I don't know, but I mean, it was cool. But like you guys were saying about the romance, like it was kind of predictable, They hated each other, and then they like each other, but then I hate how the ending happened, and I'm like, really? That's how you're gonna leave this? Like, really? God.
Maybe she has a part 2 coming that you don't know.
That's what I was thinking, because that's what it led off to, and I'm like, we'll see.
Grant, do you read a lot of romance? Is that kind of your genre that you like to read, or
no,
not necessarily? Okay.
I was, again, forced to read it against my will.
Yeah.
I like nonfiction.
Okay, that's right. I think I knew that.
I'm reading a book about law right now.
Oh, okay. Everybody get ready for that one.
It's
Trinity,
not here, luckily.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for having us read this really interesting book, a local book. That's kind of cool. All right, so we've saved the guest for last, and I do have a sound clip that we can play for you as well. Now, you did bring a book for us to talk about, but this is a TV show related to the book, so I'm going to go ahead and play that for us.
First of all, this is a journal, not a diary. Tomorrow is the first day of middle school. But luckily, I'm not alone in this middle school thing. I've got my best friend, Riley.
Here's what you need to know. Watch where you sit on the first day of school. Don't use the bathroom on the second floor. And finally, don't get the cheese touch. Because if you do, you might as well be dead.
Oh, thank you, Roderick, for that wonderful pep talk.
We're out of our league here. Maybe my mom can homeschool me. Hey, Greg! Want to come over and play?
All right, Trinity, tell us all about your pick.
Oh, Lord. So I picked this book because, sadly, a 5th grader gave me the cheese touch.
Oh, no.
We were at our Jingle Bell Jam, and he just came up to me and said, "Hey, Miss Young, cheese touch." Touched me and ran. And then all the other children around me were like, "Oh, my God, Miss Young, cheese touch." And just ran away from me. And I'm like,
oh, my goodness.
I hate Diary of a Wimpy Kid. But I have been at the middle school for 10 years, and I've never read Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And every year the kids are like, "Miss Young, you have to read it." And I'm just like, no. And then you called, and I'm like, Okay, I got cheese touched. We keep talking about this book. We do a March Madness Battle of the Books for March, and Diary of a Wimpy Kid always wins. And I'm like, get it together, lady. Just read the book. So I finally read it. It is by Jeff Kinney. He wrote it or published it in 2007. He's now up to, I think, 18 Diary of a Wimpy Kid books.
Wow.
The students absolutely love them. They're kind of like a cross between a comic book and a novel. So he sketches his daily life and he writes a little story. One of the things that I've noticed about reading this book is that Greg, who is the main character, who is the Wimpy Kid, is kind of a turd.
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
He's a bad
Holy
friend.
cow, yes.
He is a horrible friend.
He's a bad friend, brother, grandson. Like, they TP'd his grandma's house, and he's like, she's got time to clean it up.
I know.
And I'm like, oh my gosh.
He wants to be popular, which I feel like that's a big thing going into, is that
middle school.
Yeah.
Middle school.
Yeah.
He like wanted to be liked, so I see it like he had a whole popularity list of where he was and like where he wants to be.
It was not working for him. No. It was not working for him at all. And I like that his brother Roderick always gave him bad advice, but he kept listening to it.
Yeah. At that point, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Right.
I like stuff like that because it seemed really realistic. I was like, this is how kids actually act.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, but as a person at the middle school, I'm like, who's going through this right now?
A lot of them.
think like people are sitting by trash cans like he was,
Lord.
but like
I was the one that I was like, my brother and I would have totally done this as kids, was like get on the big wheel and go down the hill as fast as you can and then try to throw a football at each other to knock each other off. I was like, yep, story checks out. I would have done that.
And then like, whose best friend buys them a big wheel? Let's start there.
Yeah.
And then he like didn't even help his friend out. Like after he like ran away.
He was so mean to Rowley. I'm just like, oh, that poor little boy. And I'm like, who's Rowley here at this school?
Yeah. But then, I'm sorry, we're probably confusing anyone listening to this who hasn't read it. But then his friend Rowley kind of, you know, that he, how does that happen exactly? He like throws him under the bus. Like he gets in, they both get in trouble.
Well, kind of, yes. So Greg borrowed Rowley's, what do you call it? Crossing guard jacket.
Okay.
And he was very mean to some children.
Right.
But then they thought it was Rowley. So Rowley got kicked off the crossing guard squad. But it was really Greg who did it, and they finally figured it out because I think some little old lady told on them. I can't remember.
It was the lady in the red truck.
Yes. So they told on him, so he got in trouble. So Rowley got his little job back. But then he kept being friends with him because he was going to get a prize. And I'm like, here we go again.
Right. But I guess maybe these were unconnected, but later doesn't Rowley get more popular for doing something? And I'm like, okay, come up.
Comic strip.
Yeah. Okay. That's what it was.
It was.
Yeah.
What
is
was
it
that
called?
phrase?
It was like
Zaza Zooey or something like
Zaza
that.
Zooey.
I'm like, I don't know why that would make anybody popular, but
it was just like
middle school
It was
logic.
the most random comic strips. It was like, I hit my knee, Zaza Zooey. And then, like, Greg tried to make one called, like, Butter My Biscuits or something.
Again, turd status.
Yeah, he just wanted to be liked. And
I like how the teacher completely changed his comic strip. And I'm like, oh, that did not work out for you.
That would actually happen too. I don't know. It's so out there, but it was like I could see both things. I was like, oh, I see why parents sometimes get upset about this book.
Yes.
But I see why kids love it.
They do. And they run through these books. Like, I have a couple of students, and they just go through them so fast. Like, Miss Young, do you mind if I take 2 of these at once? And I'm like, I don't care. I'll see you back here in about 5 minutes, because they read really fast. So they absolutely love them.
But
I
that's
remember
cool.
I was grounded one day, and I read 4 of them in one day, and that kept me occupied.
Nice.
But
Did you get any ideas from Greg?
I think I was more of a Rowley than Greg
Nice.
in middle school.
Yeah.
But this book, going back to like how a lot of parents don't like it, it kind of reminds me of SpongeBob. Mm-hmm. How it's like people don't like it because like the underlying like information in it, I guess. But then also at the same time, there's the kids aspect where they don't really see it. So those two just like kind of remind me of each other.
Yeah, well, and this is kind of what I was trying to say. I think between mainly Encino Man and Diary of a Wimpy Kid is that they are just kind of really dumb and silly, and like maybe there's not a lot of nutrition there. I don't know how else to say it.
Right.
But you love it, and especially in the case of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, it keeps kids reading.
Yeah.
So I can't argue with that. Like if it gets a kid excited to pick up a book and read it, and they want to take out 2 at a time rather than 1, I'm happy. So I don't know. That's kind of how I ended up feeling about it.
Wasn't it one of like our most circulated kids books too?
I think it was that we talked about last month. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I barely see them on the shelf.
Yeah, that's true. They get reserved.
They get checked out so much. Same. I already know where they belong on the shelf. As soon as someone comes, I want a Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I'm like, all right, follow me. I don't even have to look where it's at. I know where it's at.
Or you check it in and then you're just reserving it right away.
And it's not a new book. Like it's been around for so long.
Yeah, we were lucky that we got the copy. Or the book.
Yeah, for us to read for the podcast.
Yeah, because I got it checked in.
Yeah.
I checked it in. I was like, Meg, do you want this? And she was like, is it reserved?
Yeah. It was on Hoopla as well. I'm glad I got to read it as an actual book. But yeah, you can also check it out on Hoopla and read it that way.
Don't we have like the cheesier version or something?
I guess. I don't know what the uncheesy version is.
Right. There's a cheesier
Well, that's what it says on the
That's
cover of the
like
version. It's like the ultimate cheese version.
It's just such a...
I did think the cheese touch was really funny. As soon as I read about that, I was like, that's a funny concept.
Do you guys have cheese somewhere at the middle school?
No, he just randomly cheese touched me.
Well, tell us
and
what the cheese touch is in the book.
So there's this whole backstory, and I can't remember if they told it in the book the way they did in the movie, because yes, I even watched the movie afterwards. Okay. And there's this moldy piece of cheese on their basketball court. And I just watched the clip that you played earlier, and you could see that cheese. And it was moldy. Like, it's curing something if somebody eats it, the penicillin level. And so they had picked on these older boys. And throughout the book, they randomly get chased by these older boys. Older because they were driving a vehicle.
Yeah.
Chasing children in middle school. Scary, I'm like, this is awkward. So they chase them several times. And then finally they find them at school. One, where's your adult? Where
Where's
these
the
grown
chaperone?
kids on the recess field. So they find it and they make Greg eat a piece of the cheese.
Oh my goodness.
But before that, wasn't it like a school legend for like a long time?
So
it's just if you touch the cheese.
If you touch the cheese, you have the cheese touch, and nobody will want to be around you.
And it went like dormant for a while because
nobody would touch it.
Well, someone gave it to an exchange student, and the exchange student like got bullied enough that he just like moved out of the country back home.
Did he move or does he disappear because of the cheese touch?
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
But it's just a childhood book
that
I love.
It's funny because it's like, I guess you could call it a guilty pleasure that I will never indulge in again.
It's not for us. I mean,
and it's funny because we have book talks, and I was talking to the students. I said, guys, I finally did it. I read Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and I got an applause, and they're like, what'd you think? And I was like, you don't want to know? I said, that little kid is a little stinker. He's so mean. And they're like, no, you got to look at him from our eyes, Miss Young. And I'm like,
so you all are mean.
So, Grant, you've read more of them than us then. Does he get better? Does he learn his lesson?
No. He it's the same plot, different places. Like the cheese touch is like different scenarios. Like there's a camp one where he goes to summer camp, and the cheese touch is more of like a legend of like this dude with long nails going after kids.
Oh, okay. What does that have to do with cheese?
It's just it's like the same theme of the cheese touch, just like the legend is still there, but it's just a different object.
Okay.
So I read up to like, Oh, no. I think I read up to 10. It was like, the last one I read was like about a Hawaiian vacation. And for that one, they were fugitives on the run for the end of it. Yeah. That one's a good one to read.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that was the last one I read. And but now they have like so many more. Yeah. I follow Jeff Kinney on TikTok. And
really?
He comes out with a new one every single year.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. So it's like constantly. And then I think his son is now getting into it. So I think it will just be like
It's forever.
Yeah, forever thing. And we'll never get enough of Greg Heffley. He can't grow out of it.
Right. Well, and now they're doing like Rowley's books. There's like a scary stories version of it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going on forever. They have Roderick's band Diaper Overload.
Oh, yeah.
Which during a book fair, I had to write the title on the whiteboard because the book always, it never fails, comes out a week after my book fair.
Oh, no.
So you can like pre-order it.
Oh, okay.
And so I had to write Diaper Overload. And this lady comes up to me and she said, you know what? I don't want to embarrass you, but you misspelled diaper and overload.
You're like, no, that's part.
I'm like, no, ma'am, I did not. That is how it's spelled.
It has one of the letters with the 2 dots above it.
Yes.
Which that makes me laugh because of Husker Du. I don't know if nobody else knows who Husker Du is. Never mind.
Is it a rock artist?
That's a deep cut as far as a joke goes. So good job with them.
Yeah. But you know what? I really did enjoy it. I don't know if I'd read all 18, but
I think I might now read where I left off. Like, my teachers are going to hate it because it's not real reading, but I'm going to read those now.
But it is real reading. I guess that's what I want to say. Is like, okay, so that's the overall theme. Is like, people should never feel ashamed of anything that they enjoy watching, reading, video. Like, I know video games are sometimes people are like, this is a waste of time. But whatever. If you're having a good time, you love it, then it's worth doing. And I think sometimes people think, oh, I'm not a reader because I don't read the classics or I don't read this or that. You absolutely are a reader. Like, if you're reading and you're enjoying it, then, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have one of my gentlemen. He's a football player. He loves a good romance novel.
Oh, yeah?
You're like, Miss Young, where's romance? And I told one of the 5th graders, he's like, I got to get good at football. I need those romance books.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that's really cool. So, yeah. Awesome. I liked Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I think I enjoyed the irreverent humor of it. You know, I mean, yeah, obviously I wouldn't go out and seek it out for myself at this point, but I'm glad that I feel more confident recommending it to kids.
Yes, so, I do too. I'm like, oh yeah, definitely read that. Learn what not to do.
Yeah, learn. Yeah, do not look at this guy and then do the opposite because he's a little jerk.
I actually liked the little pictures that they had. Like it was really, it really did make me laugh.
His little brother is so funny. The way they draw his little brother.
It's like a little.
He looks like Ferb from Phineas and Ferb.
Oh my goodness!
The
I kind of remember
long nose.
Yeah. But he's just so small.
He reminds me of, you guys might know of the 90s cartoons Cat Dog. You remember
I remember Cat Dog. Yeah.
The blue little Maslow, I think his name was. That's the type of nose that he reminded me of. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I love the little pictures. I think it was funny. And then Mr. Grant here cheese touched me earlier. And I was like,
you're like 2 people at this table with the cheese touch.
See?
I was like, you're the one with the cheese-looking phone.
Yeah, because it's a yellow phone. She like called it cheese. I'm like, you're mean.
He cheese touched me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have a fake cheese in the library.
Should I like? Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I bet they make that at this point, kind of like fake dog poop or something. They probably made like fake.
You should make
moldy cheese that you can put out.
Yeah, you should make it like out of slime, just in a container when you touch it.
Slime.
Oh no, really? Kids love that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like when someone touches it, it would like string up. Like, it would just be like
sensory cheese.
Yeah, sensory cheese touch.
You did get,
that would be funny.
I think Diary of a Wimpy Kid made you evil, Grant.
When you come visit and see the newsroom, you can plant the cheese.
Okay. I will plant the cheese, everyone. I am the cheese touch creator.
Oh, good.
All right. Well, we had a good time today.
This was a fun one.
Yeah, we had fun picks this time around, and it was really great to have you, Trinity.
Thanks for having me. I was super nervous, but this was fun.
That's what everybody says. So tell your friends so that when we call other people in town and we're like, hey, will you come be in our podcast? They know. Don't be afraid.
It's scary at first, but then it gets good.
Yeah, it's a good time. So, all right, well, cool. We will be back next month with a new guest, with new picks. So I hope that everyone will tune in and listen when we're back. So we'll see y'all next time. Thank you for listening to the Dewey Decibel System, the official podcast of the Buchanan District Library. Thanks as well to our special guest, Trinity Young, for joining us today. Our theme music was written and performed by Miguel Perez, aka Dogzilla, and this episode was recorded at the Buchanan District Library on January 19th, 2024. You can learn more about the library by visiting buchananlibrary.org or stopping in to see us in downtown Buchanan, Michigan.